Hello and welcome to our Year with the Ears, our daily vlog where we relive our year living in the Walt Disney World resorts in 2019. Today is day 247.
We woke up this morning and found that there had not really been a hurricane last night like they thought there might be. There was a little bit of wind, but no damage, and a little bit of rain, but that's kind of normal for Florida. So everything is back to normal today. All the hours are the same, and we don't need to ride out a hurricane in this beautiful 3-bedroom grand villa, which is a little bit unfortunate because now we have to leave the 3-bedroom grand villa. It is our checkout day because we're only doing 2 nights in all of the 3 and 2 bedrooms because they are still very expensive. Even with discounted points and working it in the off season, it's still not cheap, especially when it's only 2 of us or we only have a couple people staying with us. So we spent the morning packing everything up here, not in a big hurry. We're gonna get out by 11, but we're not trying to rush out early because we really like this room. We got everything packed up and loaded up and called Bell Services to take it for us. They took all of our luggage and transferred it for us to our resort, and my brother-in-law, sister, and niece, we had their luggage transferred over to Pop Century where they're going to be staying. They have their dining plan there. They've got their own room, and this was their original check-in day that they had to move around because of the potential hurricane coming through.
So while we were getting the room cleaned up, everything packed up because we have a lot more luggage than they do, they actually took the monorail over to Magic Kingdom early this morning. They were hoping to see some characters, and our niece has some adorable outfits to meet them in. So they went to see Cinderella, and they just got the cutest pictures with her. They took some family pictures as well, got some cute ones there because the PhotoPass photographers do a fantastic job. And then they went and saw Mickey and Minnie because you were able to see Mickey and Minnie in 2019 together. That was just because the 90th birthday celebration. Normally you don't see them together. So she had these cute little outfit changes and they were going around seeing all the characters. Then they took the monorail back over to meet us and we all headed over to Hollywood Studios.
When we got to Hollywood Studios, we had to go to the #1 place that they're wanting to go, and that is Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. They got to go check it out too. Of course, we've been there several times now, so we went over there and kind of showed them around the land. They got some PhotoPass pictures and stuff while we walked around. Weren't really doing anything in particular. We were just kind of exploring and looking around. And we were also killing time because we had lunch reservations at Mama Melrose, which is one of our personal favorite restaurants in Hollywood Studios. And since my brother-in-law and sister are on the dining plan, they're gonna eat at a lot of good restaurants this week. And they made their reservations for 5 people in case we wanted to join them because we're here too, so we may as well have some meals with them.
We all ordered quickly because we've been here many times and know what we enjoy. Robert and I are going to share a meal, however, so we got the steak because they have a phenomenal steak that we love here. And we have reservations somewhere else this evening and we want to make sure we're very hungry for it. So we don't want to eat too much while we're here. So we got the steak and it was just as good as we remembered. And my sister-in-law and brother-in-law got the chicken parmesan, which is always a classic, and the chicken alfredo, which was also very good.
And since they're on the dining plan, that means they get dessert as well. So they got the cannolis as well as the little dessert trio that comes with the sponge cake and the tiramisu and the little cheesecake there. We didn't want to have much for dessert, but they said they were going to use one of their dining credits for us because with the hurricane, it kind of threw off all their schedule and all their credit plans for their dining plan. So they were going to have several extra credits, and they were like, hey, if you guys are just splitting a meal, just use a credit for it, it's fine. So we had to get a dessert because it's included. So we just got some chocolate gelato, something nice and light to end off the meal so we don't fill ourselves up too much before dinner.
One of the reasons we came here for lunch is at Mama Melrose. You can eat here for lunch, and for no extra charge, you can get the Fantasmic dining package, which gives you reserved seating for Fantasmic. And I mean, we love watching Fantasmic.
Yep.
And if you don't have to be there super early to have a good seat, then this is definitely worth it because it's no extra charge. You just have to book it as the Fantasmic package. So that's exactly what we did. After we finished our meal, we headed over to Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run because our sister-in-law and brother-in-law have not ridden this ride. So we, of course, volunteered to hold our niece and take care of her while they went and rode. So they got in line. It had a decent wait, but we said that's totally fine. We went and found some fans in the shade and we stood over there. and she took a nap. She was such an angel. It was great. So we just stood there enjoying how adorable she looks while she's sleeping, and actually enjoyed seeing all the other guests there in Galaxy's Edge enjoying everything because it's still relatively new. So a lot of people have not been here, and we love seeing everyone's reactions because this really is such a cool place.
After they got back from the ride, we were handing off my little niece and getting ready to leave, and Ray came by, so she got to talk to my niece for just a minute there, and it was a super cute interaction. And then we did have to go because our room was ready over at Animal Kingdom Lodge Jumbo House, so we said goodbye and we rushed off to Animal Kingdom Lodge on the bus so that we could do a room tour of the 2-bedroom villa that we have with a standard view. And we were really excited to find that this was one of those rooms that is a standard view, but it's really not a standard view because we had a great view of the savannah as well. Now in the living room area, we do have 2 different pull-out beds. So we've got one over here on this side in the couch. There is a queen pull-out inside there. And then on the other side in that chair, there is a twin pull-out bed as well. And we'll show you what those look like when they're pulled out here shortly. On the dresser here, we've got some more animal carvings from the Lion King, I'm sure. And then of course we know this up here is definitely from the Lion King, and it's little Simba again, carved right there into the dresser. And you can see that entire room tour linked in the description below and up there in the corner.
Once we were done taking pictures and video, we called Bell Services and asked if our luggage had arrived. It had, so we asked them to bring it up. While we were waiting for that, we went back on the balcony because we're here at Animal Kingdom Lodge. We want to see if there's animals, and sure enough, there were quite a few animals out here, specifically the giraffes. Apparently it's dinner time for them, so we got to see some animals there. Then our luggage came up and we got ready because tonight we are going to Jiko for the very first time. We've heard amazing things about this place, but we've never been. And so we're meeting our friends from the UK there because it is their last night here in the US. They'll be flying back tomorrow officially. So we wanted to say goodbye and see them for a little bit.
When we got to Jiko, we were surprised to find that they are still doing a special event that they started a few months ago, and we thought it was probably over by now. They were doing something special for the live action Lion King release. It was called the Circle of Life dining experience, and as part of that, they brought in live music to walk around and play in Jiko during dinner. So that was a really great surprise because it definitely changed the tone and the mood in there, and it's always great to have live music for dinner. I mean, I know this is a signature restaurant, but this really stepped it up a notch.
And it's clear that you're vacant expression. If the lights are not on upstairs, when we're talking kings in succession, even though you'll be caught unaware, so prepare for a chance of a lifetime. Be prepared for sensational news, a shining new era, the sector we glitter. And where do we feature? Just listen to teacher. I know it sounds sorted that you'll be rewarded at last, and I get it. Bye, 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 bye. Just be prepared, be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. Hakuna Matata. Be prepared. Hakuna Matata. Be prepared. Hakuna Matata. Be prepared. Hakuna Matata. Be prepared.
As part of the Circle of Life experience, you could choose to order that prefix menu or just order off the regular menu as normal. So my friend and I decided to order the Circle of Life menu, and then Alyssa and his fiance decided to order from the regular menu. In the Circle of Life menu, we both got the same appetizer, which was the bone marrow and clams, and this was phenomenal. I am not usually a big fan of marrow, but this was so good. I could not believe all the flavors going on in here.
I had never had anything like this before, so of course I had to try something new, be adventurous, and I was shocked at how much I liked this because it just seemed really odd to me and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, but it was delicious.
They decided to forego any appetizers and they brought out the main courses for us. I chose the option from the Circle of Life menu for the ribeye. This thing was huge and had a ridiculous amount of flavor. I am not always a fan of ribeyes because of all the fat, all the marbling in it, but this one was incredible. Just melted in your mouth. It had so much flavor. I'm really glad I chose this one. And my friend ordered the seafood curry, which had lobster and shrimp and mussels and all this stuff in there. And I'm not always big on curry. If it's not super spicy, I like it, but if it's spicy, I'm not a big fan. And he let me try it, and this stuff was amazing. So many flavors with all the seafood going on. It was a great dish, even though I was really happy I got my ribeye.
And I ordered the filet, which was a huge piece of filet and so good. I honestly didn't even want to try any of Robert's because I was enjoying my meal so much. But of course I had to try it just to see the difference. There were different flavors there, but my food was so good. And then I also was able to try the dish that our friend ordered. She got the vegan dish, which was basically a vegan tamale, and I tried it and it was really good. I liked it way more than I thought I would, so I ended up having several more bites because she was like, yeah, if you like it, eat some more. I was like, really? So we ended up sharing that pretty much because I liked this a lot.
And I did try Alyssa's filet, and honestly, that may be the best filet I've had anywhere on property up to this point. It had amazing flavor, still, again, very different than the ribeye, and I'm glad I got the ribeye, but that was a really awesome filet.
And for dessert, of course, I got something chocolate because that's just always going to happen when it's available. I got the Kilimanjaro, which was basically chocolate mousse, but it was in the form of a ball, which was really amazing. Normally, of course, it looks kind of like a tart. And this was so good, and it was so light, which I really needed after having such a heavy meal. And this was so good. Everything has been incredible today, and I feel like we keep saying it's all amazing, but it really was all amazing.
Our Circle of Life dinner came with a set dessert that was the Hakuna Matata, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was basically like a chocolate dessert covered in food coloring that Alyssa can't eat. So I got to eat the whole thing by myself. It was really good. I think yours was more rich as far as like the chocolate flavors, but mine was good too. I finished mine off because this has just been the perfect meal. We've not eaten at a ton of signature restaurants at this point this year, but this is hands down the best meal we have had all year up to this point and ever at Walt Disney World.
The food was all delicious. Every single thing we tried. We had great company with our friends there, and the live music really did make such a difference here. It just added to the ambiance and made it feel very signature.
To the point that I kind of wish they'd bring it back and keep it all the time. If you're listening, Disney, when you reopen Jiko, we would love to have live music. Anyway, after we finished dinner with our friends, they had to go back because they had to get ready for their flight in the morning. So we headed over to Hollywood Studios as quickly as we could because we had that Fantasmic dining package. My sister, brother-in-law, and niece had already gotten their seats. They were sending us a picture to let us know, like, hey, this is where we're sitting, if you can come join us. And we rushed over to make it in for Fantasmic and get there to sit with them. And we did make it in time. We did sit out of the splash zone too. We're smart enough to not sit down in the splash zone with my little niece who's only a couple months old. And I love this show. This is probably my favorite nighttime show of all time, behind Happily Ever After.
Okay.
Happily Ever After still wins, but Fantasmic is right up there for me. I always enjoy it, especially the ending with Mickey when he like disappears and reappears. It's so cool.
Once the show was over, we sat there and just talked together for a little while because there are a lot of people that have to leave and there's really no reason to stand in the crowd and wait. So we waited until it was time for us to go and then headed out into the crowd, and we took the separate buses back to our resorts, and that was the end of our day today. So we'll see you tomorrow
For our Year with the Ears.